It is 5:31 and I call this meeting officially to order. Let's get to roll call. Let's see Aubrey, Bjorn, me, Brandon, Deanna, Greg, Joey, Jess, Josh, Lacey, Messina, Sean, Terry, and Zoe. Should we also include Peggy in the roll call?
Yes.
Yes, Peggy, there she is. Hello. With that, can I entertain a motion to approve today's agenda?
I moved.
I see.
Oh, sorry, Brandon.
I saw Brandon's hand up, and
Yeah.
would you like to second that, Eunice?
No, I want someone to second it. Not I want.
All right. Any seconds?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Messina. And the motion passes. All right, can I entertain a motion to approve last meeting's minutes? Oh, Zoe, there we go. Motion by Zoe, any second to that? Seconded by Brandon. And the motion passes. All right. On to reports. I don't have anything to report for you guys this week. It is Aubrey's last meeting today, unfortunately, and we also have Peggy, who will be taking her position. So Peggy, if you would like, you could introduce yourself if you're comfortable.
Certainly, I am Peggy Eaton, and I have been here at Central for 24 years. I am been in the dean's office for roughly about 20 of those years, and I have served in this capacity, taking minutes before with this committee in previous years when I needed to fill in when we had a change in people. So I feel fairly comfortable, and Aubrey has an amazing template that I can follow, so it will be very helpful to me, and I can help you kind of finish out the year that way. At any rate, I am the dean's admin assistant, and as I said, I've been here for a while, so if you have questions, let me know.
Thank you, Peggy. And Aubrey, thank you for all your work. I know it's still early in this meeting, but I still like to give credit where it's due. And with that, I yield my time.
Yeah, ASCWU, we don't have a whole lot to report right now. I guess we could just give you like a little look into the future. ASCWU will be coming in with like a supplemental request for next week's meeting. And then I think, what else? Oh, for ASCWU, we also had elections yesterday, if you did not see. President-elect will be Madeline Koval. The vice president-elect is Joffrey Odock. The governor of fair is Edgar Uespino. We have our multicultural and equity director, which is going to be Mariah Minaharas. And then we also have our student life and equity, which is, if you know her, she goes by Taco, but it's Alejandra. And then we also have our Senate speaker, which is Rachel Mandalia. And yeah, with that, I yield my time.
Can I ask a question to Brandon? Can we ask a question on the report? What kind of supplemental charges you gonna come for? I'm just curious.
What was that, Eunice? Sorry.
You said you guys, SCVU is gonna come for supplemental charges next week. You agree?
Oh, sure. Am I allowed to say, Joey? I don't know without the agenda created or not.
You can very briefly. We won't go into really detail on it, Eunice. Just because it'll be on the stuff
curious,
next week,
you know,
yeah.
you don't have to tell.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it'll be presented by Mikhail. Triple G will be here as well. And it's for student legal services going into next year's academic year. But yeah, I'll leave all the other details to them for next week.
Thank you.
Yeah. and then now I yield my time to Joey and Lacey.
Great. I don't actually have any reports this week.
I just have two. One, just a reminder, after this week, we have 3 more meetings this year. So we are quickly approaching the end of the year. And again, as Brandon alluded to, we have a few things on the docket already for next week, not a lot. And then obviously the voting on that request, but we'll see what other things come up. There will be a break for source, again, because we normally already have that reserved that we save that week, typically for presentations because it's in the same physical space. But that, and then the only other one is just to add on to what Christian said. Again, thanking Aubrey, not just for everything this year, which has been tremendous. And again, you all have been here throughout and seen all the work she's put in with the base funding and with all of that, but also for the previous years. For those who are not aware, she's put in a tremendous amount of work, not just being on the committee and the minutes and keeping the communication, but also completely redoing and organizing the S&A website into a way that people can find things on there and is organized and set moving to the new one. So again, cannot thank you enough, Aubrey.
Thank you. I'm always happy to, help out the committee. You guys do great work.
All right. With that, let's move on. And am I correct in assuming there's no communications received?
That is correct.
All right. Then in that case, let's move on to public comment. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Looking in the chat. All right. Seeing none, let's move on to old business. And that is voting on the S&A carry forward requests from international student activities and outreach. Any opening remarks on that?
Oh, actually, Joey, Lacey, when he said he was going to get back to us with his bosses, I guess like the questions he didn't have, he said he would go to his boss to report back. So they never reported back anything.
I didn't receive anything.
Okay.
I didn't receive
Okay.
anything either. We didn't send them anything beyond the questions that were verbally asked though as well, but so we can do that if needed, but we didn't receive any follow-up.
Okay. Yeah, because I guess that was on my part too. I probably could have sent a follow-up, but I remember him saying like he would get back to us after he like talked to his supervisor or something, but it was like kind of Eunice's question and maybe like kind of curious that like they were requesting for a rollover in funds that was, mainly for, I guess, payroll of students, but at the same time, they were cutting hours this whole year for students. And so I don't know, I just wanted to know, I was like, what was this money like possibly like earmarked and why was it not spent this year? And I don't know, it was like a concern that I had knowing that that money that they're asking for rollover is for student wages, but then this entire year they were kind of cutting hours from my understanding, and I think maybe we could get it cleared up too. But yeah, I was just like kind of curious why they're asking for a rollover, but at the same time, I guess for student wages and stuff, but they're also cutting hours. But yeah, I'll yield my time.
All right. I believe Bjorn was up first, and then we'll go to Eunice.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. I had a little bit of a hard time following the presentation, but when Eunice asked his question, Patrick said that they try to keep the S&A fee or the S&A money to pay for the programming positions instead of like the other positions. I don't know exactly how that works or why it's labeled as just blanket student payroll. But I did see that. There was also no program coordinator position at the beginning of the 2018 year. And my impression was the program coordinator was supposed to be a student, but I may be off about that.
All right, Eunice and then Joey.
So I just had a conversation with my supervisor about it. I want to have a clarification. First of all, program coordinator is the professional staff, which is my supervisor. No, the last year I was a program assistant, but they create the position for me because I was very involved with the students. So they create a new position called program coordinator assistant. Is paid from S&A last year, but this year something happened. My payroll didn't come from the S&A. It came from their own budget. That's why they cut the hours, because they didn't have a much budget. S&A fee for my position, they didn't use it for my S&A. That was my boss saying. But like, I want to let you know that there was a lot of programming happened this year, online, in person. So now this year also supposed to pay my position, only my position, I think, need to be paid S&A, but something happened on the payroll things. So my budget came from the other money. So this is what I received. I yield my.
All right, thank you, Eunice. And then Joey, I see your hand up.
Yeah, and I think some of what I was about to say may have been clarified. It wasn't specific. Is I do know they have student positions that are specifically paid for out of the S&A fee, which is typically the programming ones. The other ones are not paid for. They have students who provide administrative office support who are paid for out of a different fund for international. And so there's a little bit of a separation there. Just to be clear, not all students who work in international are paid for out of S&A. So there is a little bit with that. We can always, and again, it's up to the committee, you all can make a motion this evening, but also if there is information that is relevant to you all to be able to make a vote, we can table it until next week and ask any questions for clarification. But I would say that would really, we'd only want to do that if the answer to the question is going to impact how you would vote on this request.
Any other thoughts? Bjorn, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. So Yunus, your position last year was assistant program coordinator, right?
I am still in the same position, but
Okay. And last year was paid for by S&A?
that was, I know that, like Joe said, this is only assumptions, is not the clarification. So maybe, I mean, but last year what I know that because like I was the only person working 20 hours every week, and I think some of my payroll is paid by S&A because I was doing programming. Also, like Joseph said, I was also doing office stuff. So it was two different payroll paid. It's money things is very complicated. So I don't know to say. I'm just a student programmer, nothing else.
Yeah, one thing I would be interested in asking the international office is like, did the assistant program coordinator shift in where the money comes from 2020 to 21 or whatever the academic year is these days? Because I feel like that's kind of a weird shift to make. And it might account for the rollover that they have somehow.
And Eunice, were you about to say something?
I mean, I just want you guys to think about that, what OSP doing, the programming, seriously, because SNFE also used for the immigration help to students as well for the professional stuff. I mean, I'm just saying that I think it's better the tabling for, I mean, because I think some of you guys have some question in mind. Also, because of the conflict of interest, I'm not going to vote. I'm gonna keep it abstain. I'm not gonna vote for this, just letting you know. But I mean, if you guys have a question, I think maybe we can table it for next week because we don't have a rush for the yes or say yes or no, right, Joe?
Yeah, and I mean, yes, you all, there's not a rush on that, so you can. I would just be careful, and the caution I was going to say is not to get into the weeds on one specific position. If the question is really because there's concern the international had money available and did not spend it, then we can ask that question, but I would not delve into the specifics of where one position was funded or why, if the funding did move or not within those, because those are things within the individual program budgets. So just to be mindful that we don't get too into the weeds on this.
Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was just trying to I guess clarify from this conversation, and like Joey said, that's the one question I have, and I was just wondered if anyone in this room even had an answer for it, because if not, then yeah, I'd probably agree to table it for a week. So I'll open up to the committee if they caught that answer at all, but that's just a question I have, and so I don't know if we should vote on it this week. Okay, then I make a motion to table this request for next week, and then yeah, we'll have Joey and Lacey maybe email that question. Cool.
And then Jess, is that a second from your thumbs up? Yes, it is. All right. Any discussion before we vote? Look at the chat. Seeing none, I call for the vote to table this voting for next week. And the motion passes. All right. On to new business, and that is the S&A base funding process review and recommendations.
So this is going to actually be pretty brief for this week. This is mostly make sure you all are aware. Right before the meeting, you all should have gotten an email from me that actually had the document. This is one that we, with the last question obviously being updated for this year, since it's base funding, is one we do every year, to have a self-assessment from the committee on what things from your individual perspective went well, what things could we improve on, and then also what recommendations would you give to next year's committee. This one, and you all have that to look at and think about. Next week, I'm going to put time on the agenda for us to actually discuss and talk about it, but I want people to have time to think through those questions, but to have us have a conversation about the things that went well, and realistically the conversation next week about what recommendations to kind of further improve, not just the S&A in general, what we do on a weekly basis, but specifically the base funding. And a little bit of this is, I think, similar with what you had in mind last week, Bjorn, when you were talking about kind of a time capsule, because again, 4 years from now, it is likely that there will be no committee members who are voting who are the same individuals, as you can tell from this year. And so to be able to impart some of that wisdom, here's the things I wished I knew, here's the other pieces. I'm still going to ask you all, if you can and have the time before the end of the year, to individually fill out that form and just shoot it back to me. Because what I do is I keep all of those, one for a year, but I also compile it into a larger one. But you can fill it out before next week. You can wait until we have some direct dialogue and talk about it next week on what things went well or not. But I prefer to give you all a little bit of a heads up for those that don't like being put on the spot all of a sudden, to think through all of the year, what went well and what didn't. So take time to look over that, thinking back through, again, all the way back to fall quarter, which was a lot of training and pieces there, but what things did you all think were especially helpful? What things were missing or were challenging, and the recommendations you have kind of moving forward. So expect that next week. And then I'll send out the question to International and bring their response, or they may attend next week to answer as well. Other than that, I mean, any questions now, I mean, just about what this is or what the process or what we do with it before, again, not delving into the discussion on recommendations, but questions for me as you think about it over the next week? Awesome. And I did send it to you, Aubrey, as well, even though this is your last week, because I would like your feedback as well, having been here. So with that, then I yield my time.
All right, thanks for the heads up, Joey. With that, I believe new business is done. So with that, I give the second call for public comments. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Aubrey, I see your hand up.
Hi. Just wanted to come on and thank you guys for a great year so far. Please stay in touch. I will still have the same email because I'll still be with the university. So, you know, when things are not burning down the barge, I don't know where my office will be, but we're in barge. So just like, you know, walk in, start yelling my name, I'll find you. But yeah, hope to see you guys around.
All right, we have a comment in the chat here. Thank you, Aubrey. Thank you to the entire committee for such a monumentous year. And that is from Jenna's phone. Thank you, Jenna. And thank you, Aubrey, again, for everything you've done for this committee. It really did help us out a lot.
So happy to help.
Are there any other Eunice, I see your hand up.
If everyone is feel comfortable, open the camera and let's take a photo with last time with Aubrey. I don't have any photo because we're supposed to take a photo in the beginning of the quarter as a group, but we haven't. So if you guys feel comfortable, let's do it on this screenshot. If you guys okay, I mean. Oh, so open first time.
That is a great recommendation,
Yeah.
Eunice. Thank you for making that.
With Greg's Teletubby background.
Yes, he put it on right before. I think he knew Eunice was gonna make the.
But the thing is, I don't know how to take a screenshot. So if anybody knows it, take it and send it to us.
1 second.
I can take the screenshot.
Sean's
Oh my God. There's two Bjorns.
Oh, there are two Bjorns.
Oh my God. I was not prepared for that. Oh boy. All right.
Just tell me when y'all are ready.
Why don't you give a count of 3? Because if someone says we're ready, then they're going to be in the middle of talking.
Oh my
fair.
God, don't do great. I really like your background. Like always.
Right. 1, 2, 3. All right, I got 2.
Perfect. Thank you, Bjorn. Thank you, everyone, as well, and great suggestion, Eunice.
Yeah, any other comments, any questions? Check out Eunice. I see your hand up again.
I have a question for Dr. Gregory, if he's able to answer. It's about this. I received some question. I mean, it's not about S&A, but it's about the COVID-19 for next year. Is
Yes.
it the students should have COVID vaccinated before they come to school or not? Because I received this question from some international student. Is it mandatory or not yet?
Not yet. That hasn't been mandated yet by the institution. Washington State University is requiring it with a few exceptions. The Council of Presidents for the state universities are having that conversation currently. And as some of you may know, the governor was on campus yesterday, and that was part of the conversation that took place. And we're waiting to see if it's going to be mandated or not. At this point in time, we're kind of in a holding pattern to determine what that might look like for fall. So at this point in time, we highly recommend it, but it's not required.
Thank you.
But I would encourage you all to get a COVID shot if you haven't gotten your vaccination yet.
I just finished my second dose today, and I feel like not high, but I feel like so happy. I feel like I will never get a COVID-19, but I don't know. I feel like so lucky that I'm in America, because in my country they give you 3 months later for second dose, but in America it's just 21 days. So this is one of the beneficial things that I am in America. God bless America.
Any other comments, questions, or concerns? All right, seeing none, Can I entertain a motion to adjourn today's meeting? I see Eunice's thumb up. I'll assume that's a motion. And I see Jess's as well, a second. And the motion passes. Who voted nay?
I clicked by mistake.
Oh. All right. Have a nice night, everybody.
Have a
Aubrey,
great
thanks
evening, all.
again.
Thanks, Aubrey.
Thanks again.
Bye, guys.
Take care.